Sharing with you in this video how to always be motivated, how to have it so that you're not waiting for some perfect feeling, some perfect state in order to finally be who it is that you want to be. I'm going to share with you in this video how to remove this from your life completely so that you can just do what you have to do and have a willingness to do it even if you don't feel like it. And even if you feel upset, even if you feel angry, even if you feel stressed out, even if you feel happy, whether you feel very positive or whether you feel very negative, or whether you think it's going to work out or maybe you don't feel like it's going to work out. I'm going to teach you in this video how to just do it regardless of the chaos happening externally or even internally in your body and in your mind. And then so the first thing that I want to share with you in this video in terms of how to actually do this is really, for me personally, my belief, what I believe is that motivation is not actually real. Only consistent action towards a vision is. That's all that's real. See, what's actually real is you having a willingness to just take action even if you don't want to. That's what's real. Because why is it real? Because it produces a result. The action produces a different result. Most people are not able to create different results in their life because they're stuck in the same thinking patterns. They're stuck in the same thinking patterns. And it's because, why are they stuck in the same thinking patterns? Because they're identified and they're attached to the identity that they have. And part of this identity that I believe we have in society is that there's a strong conditioning where you feel like there's this one grand moment that's going to make you feel happy, and then now you're going to be motivated to take action, and then like with very little effort and very little consistent work over a long period of time, something big is just going to happen in your life. There's a sort of just like this unconscious belief, I believe, that like we all have within us, where it's like we get it from the movies that we watch, we get it from seeing success out there, but little do we do research on how this person actually became successful. So like, just to start out this video, before I go any deeper, I just want you to start to contemplate this idea that like, what if feeling a strong emotional rush and then that's your basis to take action on your vision is not a good plan? Like, what if there's a better plan where instead of feeling for this like random moment of emotional rush to make you take action, and then you can give yourself permission to be who you want to be, why not create your life around discipline? Discipline where you just have a vision in your mind and then you want to take action towards that vision, and then you do it simply because you made a decision, not because you feel a certain way, but you make a conscious decision to do so. It has to be conscious. You have to own it. You have to own it fully. You can't pretend that you don't want it. I think that a big part of life is that what we fail to accept is that life runs off of desire. Desire is a huge part of life that we oftentimes don't want to look at because we think that we're above desire, or we're too spiritual for desire, or like we're just gonna, I always talk about in my videos rising above your emotions, and of course that's true. You want to rise above your emotions and then become greater than your emotions, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to have desire. And then so the second thing that I want to share with you in this video is just really have a bold enough vision that excites you, that makes you actually act greater than your emotions. Because unless you have a compelling vision, unless you have a vision that makes you feel excited in your body, not that you're waiting for this feeling of motivation to feel happy one day, I'm talking about a genuine excitement where just thinking about the vision makes you happy, makes you excited, and it sort of makes you present to the moment even. It even builds a deeper spiritual connection to the present moment, regardless of excitement. If it just makes you happy to be it, to embody it, to own it in the present moment, that's the vision you want to go for. And so I invite and encourage you to have a vision that's so powerful and so exciting for you that it makes you not care about how you feel. To just say it more simply and say it a little more down to earth. Like, for example, you wake up in the morning and you feel sad and you feel unhappy and you feel stressed or worried or anxious that perhaps, for whatever reason, whatever the reason might be, you have these feelings in your body, right? But then your vision is just so bold and so exciting, but also feels realistic to you, right? Because you want to have realistic vision, But it's that perfect balance of like, it excites you, it makes you feel excited and happy and like electric, but also it feels realistic to you. So it's like, if you can find that balance and then actually take action towards that, what's happening is that it's going to make you want to take action towards that, and then not ignore your feelings, not ignore your emotions, but learn how to use them, how to use your emotions. I think that in society, we feel that there's something wrong with using our emotions, as if like you're running away from something or you're doing something bad or wrong. Like, I'm just here to tell you right now that you have full permission to take an emotion of pain, take an emotion of misery or unhappiness, and maybe a feeling of you're upset or whatever the case might be, and then simply to, from a conscious space of self-awareness, from a space of, observation, just take that and then use that to take action, because your vision is more exciting to you and makes you more happy than whatever it is that you're creating right now. Because if you're creating misery and unhappiness and sadness and all of these things, and you feel like you want a different reality for yourself, you cannot think the same way that you've been thinking. You cannot be the same way that you've been being. You have to start to step out of the box that you've been trapped in. Maybe you've been thinking too much. Maybe you've been stuck in your mind too much, and you have to ground it back into the present moment. Ground it back into the present moment. So again, my invitation is just start to think about, what is that vision for you? What is that vision for you where like it's the perfect middle? It's the perfect middle where, I'll just pull up a chart right over here so you can actually see, where it's like you're right in the middle, where you feel like you're not in your danger zone, where you feel scared or upset or too uncomfortable, but you're not perfectly comfortable, where it's like you're doing the same thing that you've always been doing. It has to be like a bold vision, where it's bold, but you're still having a security net of some kind to some degree. But you don't want to be so bold that you have no security net whatsoever. A good analogy is when you go to the gym, you want to slowly increase, like if you're building strength, if you're trying to build strength, you want to slowly increase the weight over time, in increments over a long-term perspective, from over a long period of time. That's what you want to do. And so when it comes to building your vision in your business, in whatever area of your life, whatever you're creating, you want to think about it in a similar manner. You want it to be just bold enough where it makes you scared and excited to go against your negative emotions, but not so bold that you go right back and you feel negative anyway because you're too scared. And then in the gym, if you do too much weight, what's going to happen is that you're going to injure yourself because you're lifting too much weight. You're not strong enough for that yet. So that's a great analogy as well. Now, to conclude this video, this might sound a little bit negative. Just want to set some expectations here. It might sound negative. It might sound upsetting. But the question that I want to ask you is, who are you if you don't act on that vision? Who are you going to become? Look at your life in the next 2 weeks, in the next 3 weeks, in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. How about 20 years? Look at your life 20 years from now, and who are you? Who are you going to be if you don't act on your vision every single day from today? From today, no more games, no more joking around. Who are you going to be? And if that doesn't make you happy, if you feel like your family is not going to be proud of you, if you feel like the people around you are not going to be proud of you, if you feel like, first and foremost, you're not going to be proud of yourself for what you've created 20 years from now, if you're the same person that you're being right now, then what you have to do is you have to change. And that change has to come from a true willingness and desire to become something greater, not because you're just unhappy with where you are, but because you accept where you are, you love where you are, but you just know that you deserve something greater. You know that you're worthy of something greater. Why? Is it because somebody's granting you this worthiness? No, but because you grant it yourself. You give yourself permission to be who it is that you want to be. But my invitation here is not to get scared of sort of looking at that a little bit, looking at that reality of where you're headed if you don't change who you are. Look at that a little bit, because if you're going to just not be, willing to look at that, what's going to start to happen is that you're still going to go in that direction. You're still going to create that. That's still the trajectory of your life, whether you want to look at that or not. But what I'm inviting you to do in this video is simply to have a conscious look at it, to have an audit of it, to look at it consciously, to see, like, you know what, like, I'm just gonna look, let's just put it all on the table. Let's just put it all on the table, you know what I mean? Like, let's just see, who am I gonna be 20 years from now if I'm the same person that I'm being right now? And if that doesn't make you happy, you have to audit your life and see what actions have to change, and then actually do it. And then what's gonna motivate you to actually do it is to, again, build that vision consciously, make it so conscious to understand that there's nothing wrong with desire. There's nothing wrong with wanting things. The key, I believe, is to have self-awareness while you do it, and then do it from a place of respect. Do it from a place of integrity. Do it from a space of honesty. Do it from a place of authenticity. Do it from a space of being aligned with your values. And how do you actually do this? Well, you have to be a person of values, of integrity. You have to actually care about your state of being while you're doing things, and have true empathy for others, because you actually care about yourself. And oftentimes, the best way to be selfless, I believe, and to actually help others, is to care about yourself enough, and then your state of being, to then, when you see that you can rise above your negative states of being, you look at others and say, you know what, they can do the same thing because I've already done it. I've already done it. If you've already, risen above all of your problems, you've rised above all your problems, all your challenges, not to say that you're not going to have more, I can't really say all, but if you've rised above a problem, a challenge, a pain point in your life, and you know that you've overcame that, you can now be a leader. It's almost your responsibility to be a leader, to then show others, if they're willing to listen, like, if they're not willing to listen, then of course it's not something I believe you have to worry about too much. But if a person has the ear and the eye to listen, they have the willingness to learn and the willingness to listen to you and understand you, then that's your opportunity to be a leader. And then the way to step into that is, again, to have a strong understanding of who you're going to be if you don't act in alignment with who you care about today, every single day. That's what you have to keep in the forefront of your mind as you're going through your life, because it's very easy to get comfortable and complacent and then do the same thing over and over, and then just forget all about your little vision when you feel like some moment of sadness or unhappiness. You have to remind yourself every single day what that vision is, why it's important to you, why you care about it, and then here's the thing: don't be afraid to look at this. If I invite and encourage you, the genuine consequences of not creating it. What does that mean for you? Lean into that a little bit, and then again, actually lean into that every single day. Lean into that every single day, and then use that to be more motivated. And then when you actually do these things that I'm sharing with you in this video, you're not going to need motivation. You're not going to need motivation. What you're going to have is discipline to a vision, and then a willingness to do that every single day, because the vision is so powerful and makes you so excited. That's what life is really about. I think that life is about building connection with others, and then just building your heart's desire and what you actually want, and then executing on that relentlessly and fearlessly and boldly, and of course doing it respectfully and honorably, and again, authentically. But the only way to do this, I believe, effectively over a long period of time is, once again, not to repeat myself, to remember the consequences of not actually doing it.